Please subscribe my channel and press the bell icon for getting latest updated video. Good morning everyone. My name is Bhavesh Parmar and in today's session we are going to start a new lesson, and the name of lesson is Instruction Set and Programming of 8085. So guys, in this lesson we are going to study so many instructions. So these instructions will help you to write down various assembly language program, and to execute these programs we are going to use a special simulator software. So that softwares will help you to execute microprocessor assembly language programs. So guys, before starting this lesson, let me try to understand how this lesson is more important. So guys, if we see the weightage of this lesson, so it consists of 43 marks with option. So if we see the HSC board examination question paper, so in that question paper with option question ask for 43 marks. So how this 43 marks actually gets calculated? So first of all, 30 marks program question, assembly language program question asked in our HSC board examination. So what we need to do guys, so out of these 30 marks question, we have to solve 2 questions for 10 marks. So means rest of questions are optional questions. So out of these questions we have to solve any 2 questions, and these 2 program question carry 10 marks. Means these are compulsory. So out of 30 marks we have to solve compulsory 10 marks assembly language programs. Thereafter guys, one MCQ question is asked for 1 mark, and thereafter approximately 3 theoretical question will ask, and its weightage is approximately 3 to 4 marks for each question. So guys, in this lesson we have to see approximately 72 instructions, and these instruction helps to write various assembly language program. But first of all, before starting our actual instruction part, first of all, most of the things that should be very clear to you. So let me take somewhat review of our previous lesson, that is Introduction to Microprocessor and Organization of 8085. Why guys is it so? Because in HSC board examination they will ask 6 instruction for 6 marks. So out of these 6 instruction, 3 marks for reserved for the instructions. So in that case, student need to explain each and every instruction in systematic manner. Means for 1 mark we have to write down approximately 7 points. So which these 7 points are there, which points are to be considered, so that we will going to discuss later on in the same video. But before that, out of these 7 points, 2 points are covered which is related with our previous session. So that's why on a board you have seen 2 diagrams. So first diagram represents flag register. So I already told you in our online session also, this topic is very crucial, very important. Why guys? Because in HSC board examination there is always one question asked based on this flag register. Okay guys, and when we study the instruction, the major role of flag register is there. Why guys? Because when we try to explain these instructions, so for that purpose we are going to write down so many examples, and these examples when we try to solve it and how it gets changed on flag register, so that we need to be studied. Okay guys, and the another part of the diagram shown on our board, it is related with register used by 8085 microprocessor. So these are the registers are there. So which are these registers? Let me take the short review and then we start our instruction set topic. Okay guys, so in case of flag register, so if we see that our 8085 microprocessor is a 8-bit microprocessor, and if we see there are total 5 different flag registers. 5 different flag registers are there. So which are these registers, flag registers? S flag, Z flag, AC flag, P flag, and finally CY flag. So S flag represents what? Sign flag. Thereafter Z flag represents zero flag. Then AC flag represents auxiliary carry flag. Thereafter P flag represents parity flag, and finally CY represents carry flag. So let me take the quick review how this flag gets changed. So S flag means what? Sign flag. So after performing any arithmetic or logic operation, if your MSB bit, that is most significant bit, is equal to 1, then in that case what we can say that our S flag is equal to 1, or you can say that S flag gets set. Okay, and unfortunately, suppose if your MSB bit is 0, then you say that our S flag is equal to 0, or you can say that S flag get reset. Got it? Then next is Z flag. So Z flag means what? If we perform any operation on given data, means any operation that is arithmetic and logic operation, and if we see the result, and if our result consists of all zeros, note down guys, if our result consists of all zeros, then only then Z flag is equal to 1. Okay, means in that case, to change Z flag is equal to 1, so what are the essential thing? Your result consists of all zeros. Okay guys, means your answer is 0, and if your answer is 0, in that case your Z flag is set to 1. But suppose if your answer is non-zero, in that case your Z flag is equal to 0. So Z flag is equal to 0, what it represents? Means your answer is non-zero. And when Z flag is equal to 1, what it indicates? Your answer consists of all zeros. Got it? Now guys, we switch on to our next flag, and what is the name of that flag? That is AC flag, that is auxiliary carry flag. And how it gets changed? So whenever we are going to perform any operation, and if carry flag gets generated from bit D3 to D4, in that case your auxiliary carry flag gets changed, that is it is set to 1. But suppose in some situation what happened, bit D3 to D4 never generate any carry bit. So in that case what we need to do, our AC flag is equal to 0, or you can say that it gets reset. And note that guys, out of these 5 flags, AC flag is specially used by microprocessor for internal use purpose. Is that clear? Means for user point of view, we have only 4 flags which is widely used for conclusion purpose. So guys, after AC flag, our what is next flag? P flag. P flag indicates parity flag. Parity flag means what? After performing any operation, suppose our answer consists of even number of 1. Look guys, if our result consists of even number of 1, then and only then your P flag is 1. So it is called even parity. Is that clear? And suppose if your answer consists of odd parity, means total number of 1 in odd figure, so in that case P flag is equal to 0. That is called odd parity. Okay guys, and the last flag is carry flag. So before discussing carry flag, let me take the fast quick review of this 4 flag. So S flag represents what? Sign flag. Sign flag is affected if your MSB bit is equal to 1. Otherwise your S flag is equal to 0. Okay, Z flag is equal to 1 when Z is equal to 1. If your result consists of all zeros, in that case Z flag is equal to 1. Otherwise it gets reset to 0. Thereafter AC flag. So when we perform any kind of operation, so in that case what happens? If carry bits get generated from bit D3 to D4, only in that situation your AC flag is equal to 1. Got it guys? Now next is our P flag. P flag is affected when if our result consists of even number of 1. So it is called even parity. So in that case, your P flag is equal to 1. For odd parity, means for odd number of 1, your P flag is equals to 0. Now finally we are going to discuss CY flag. CY flag indicates what? Carry flag. And when this flag gets changed, look guys, it is very interesting. So generally what we are trying to do, we are going to perform operation on 8-bit data. So when we try to perform operation on 8-bit data, and if we try to perform addition of these 8-bit numbers, what happens? Sometime 9th bit gets generated. So in that case, if your result consists of 9th bit, so in that case carry flag is equals to 1. Or in other technical language, what we can say that if carry bits get generated through MSB bit, then it is called carry bit is generated and CY is equal to 1. But suppose if we take 8-bit data and if your result also consists of 8-bit number, then in that case your CY flag is equals to 0. Got it guys? So in this way we are going to discuss all these 5 flags, and from examination point of view this question is very important. This question will ask in your exam either for 3 or 4 marks. So what to do guys? In that case you have to draw this flag register diagram. You have to give the labeling also, means what this S represents, Z represents, P represents, AC represents. So you just label it and you just try to explain each and every flag with suitable example. So that's why examiner can easily understood what you're trying to say. Got it guys? Now our next important concept which is related with our instruction set lesson is called registers. So guys, microprocessor 8085 consists of 2 types of register. So this type of register, these 9 registers are called GPR and remaining 3 registers are called SPR. But now there is one question in your mind, sir. On this board you have drawn only 8 register. So guys, there is one more register which is represented externally, and this register is called temporary register. So GPR indicates what? General purpose register. And note that guys, all these general purpose registers are 8-bit register. So microprocessor provides you 9 different general purpose registers. So these registers are helpful to store 8-bit data, and even though if we try to store the result, so we know that generally data is represented in 8-bit form and address is represented by 16-bit form. So generally what happens? So these are the various registers called general purpose registers. They are widely used to store 8-bit data, and there is a provision given by microprocessor. So we can also store 16-bit address in these registers also. So how it is possible? So what they are trying to do, microprocessor provides you 3 different register pairs. So by using these register pairs, we can store 16-bit address in these register pair. So which are these register pair? So first of all, register pair BC, then second is register pair DE, and at the end register pair HL. So generally HL is called M. M means what? Memory. So these are the 3 different register pairs get provided by microprocessor to store 16-bit address. Got it guys? So we have 9 different general purpose registers, and these registers will help you to store either 8-bit data by individually storing of these registers, or we can store 16-bit address by using these 3 register pairs. So these 3 register pairs are already provided by microprocessor. We can't change. Is that clear? Means say for example, we can't store CB, or we can't use BD or DH, EL. So we can't use in that fashion. So they are already provided. So we just need to use all these 3 register pair according to our requirement in the program. Got it guys? And remaining 3 registers are called SPR. SPR represents special purpose register. So there are total 3 special purpose registers provided by microprocessor, and these registers are helpful to execute assembly language program. Means when microprocessor execute any program, in that case there is a huge help of SP, PC and incrementer and decrementer. So first of all we are going to discuss SP. SP indicates stack pointer and it is one of the 16-bit special purpose register. So what is the meaning and what is the use of this SP? So generally what happen, microprocessor execute any program, so it gives address to each and every instruction. So let me take the example. Suppose if I have a program having 5 lines, so what actually microprocessor did, when it tried to execute that program, first of all it gives the numbering. So for example 1 number, 2 number, 3 number, 4 number and 5 number. So what it tried to do, when we start the program execute from first line, so that current executing instruction is represented by SP. Means SP consists of address of current memory location which is to be executed. Got it guys? And what happened after executing first line, what we need to do, we have to switch on to second line, then third line. In this fashion it gets execute the current program. Okay, so what is next? Next is called PC. PC stands for program counter. So again guys, it is also a 16-bit register. And what is the use of program counter? Program counter consists of 16-bit address of next memory location which is to be executed. So let me take the same example. Suppose if we have 5 different line of assembly language program and all these instructions labeled with line number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in this fashion, and we know that when we start to execute from line number 1, so its address is stored in SP, and after executing that instruction we have to execute line number 2. So line number 2 address consists by PC. So PC consists of what? Address of next memory location which is to be executed. So suppose, and note that guys, SP and PC, they have works together. Means SP consists of address of line number 1, PC consists of address of line number 2. When line number 1 get executed by microprocessor, what actually do? Address of PC consists of what? Address of next memory. So that address copied it into SP. Okay, and PC address get increased by 1. Means what? Now at this stage, suppose my line number 1 gets over. Now I want to execute line number 2. So what happened? Address of PC consists of address of line number 2. So that line number 2 address get copied into SP. And now PC consists of what? Address of line number 3. So in this fashion it gets execute the complete program. And what is the incrementer and decrementer? So incrementer and decrementer, these are also a special purpose 16-bit register, and these register helps to increase the given memory location by 1 or decrease the given memory location by 1. So in this fashion microprocessor take help of general purpose register and special purpose register to store the program and to execute the program in proper way. So note that guys, again there is one in your HSC board examination, there is always one question asked based on this register topic. So guys, one question asked on flag register and one question asked on this register concept. So in that case what to do? Sometimes they try to ask you to draw this diagram, or either they will ask you to explain these registers individually for 3 marks. Got it guys? So now guys, we are going to focus on our instruction set topic. So guys, before starting instruction set, first of all we try to understand what do you mean by instruction. So my basic question is what? Instruction. So what is instruction? So instruction are the special commands given to the particular device for proper operation. Is that clear? So in case of microprocessor, we are providing the various commands. So these commands are called instruction. So it accept that commands and it behave according to the instructions given by you. Is that clear? So in simple word, what we just try to remember, instruction means what? These are the special commands provided to the microprocessor to do something. Is that clear? So guys, in 8085 microprocessor, we have to study approximately 72 instructions, and these instructions are categorized in 3 different types. Okay, so there are 3 types of instructions. So which are these three types? So first of all is 1 byte instruction. Then second type is called 2 byte instruction. And the last one is called 3 byte instruction. So there are three different types of instruction. First one is called 1 byte instruction, second one is 2 byte instruction, and number 3 is 3 byte instruction. So this concept is also important from our instruction point of view. So as I told you earlier, for 1 mark question, for 1 mark instruction, we need to write down approximately 7 points. So from that 7 point, one of the point is related with bytes. So how can we identify whether it is 1 byte instruction, 2 byte instruction, or 3 byte instruction? So let me just focus on this topic very carefully. So first of all, we are going to study 1 byte instruction. So what do you mean by 1 byte instruction? So to store any instruction in a computer, it requires some amount of memory. So in case of 1 byte instruction, the total instruction is required 1 byte to store it in a memory. And generally what happens, guys, a normal instruction consists of two different things. So what is the first thing? First thing is called opcode and second thing is called operand. So to make any instruction, so there are two important things. So what are these important things? So first of all is called opcode and second thing is called operand. So 1 byte instruction means what? To store opcode and operand, both are stored in same byte. So that's why it is called 1 byte instruction. So guys, there is one question in our mind. What do you mean by this opcode? So opcode stands for operation code. And one more thing, guys, in instruction set, we are not going to use any kind of symbol to write down the program. Say for example, if we try to perform addition, subtraction, so in that case, we never use plus sign, minus sign to write the program. So then we see that how can we write them, how can we represent it? So to perform these operations, they provide you some instructions. And these instructions are, operations are called what? Opcode. Or you can say that operation code. Okay, and the next thing is what? Operand. Operand means what? On which we are going to perform that operation. So it is called what? Operand. And generally in microprocessor 8085, operations may be carried out on either on data, then registers, or directly on address. Is that clear? So these are the three main possibilities. So we can perform operation directly on data, either on register or on given address. Okay. So opcode and operand both are required to store 1 byte memory. Okay. So I will also explain you what is the difference between our high level language program statements and 8085 instruction. So let me take the example. Suppose if I am going to write down C is equal to A plus B. So this is the expression that I am going to write down. So this kind of expression is used in either C language, C++ language. You can use also in Java also. Okay, so this is my expression. But in technical language, what we can say that it is an instruction. So this kind of expression, instruction statements provided to the computer, and computer will perform that given operation. So guys, in this statement, so what are the operations we are going to perform? So first operation is addition and second operation is equal to. That is, we are going to store the result. So equal to and plus, these are called what? Operation. But in our microprocessor point of view, we are going to call it was opcode. That is called operation code. So which are the operations? Perform addition as well as equal to. And on whom we are going to perform these operations? So we are going to perform these operations on these three variables. Which are these variables? Variable A, B and C. So these are called operands. Is that clear? So this is our normal higher level language programming statement. So how can we write down in instruction form, that is opcode and operand? Okay, so this is our example. So I will explain you some different example. So in this case, suppose if I'm here, I'm going to write down like this: B is equal to A. So what it means? Value or information which is to be stored in variable A will be copied into variable B. So this is again my high level programming language statement. So if I am going to write down the same statement in instruction point of view, so how can I going to write? So I'm just writing like this: MOV B comma A. So what it means? Move. Move means what? We are going to moving the data or copying the data from destination variable to, from source variable to destination variable. So in this case, guys, we have two different variables. But one more thing, guys, when we study microprocessor, especially instruction set, so we never use the word variable. So instead of using word variable, we can use word registers. Okay, guys. So in this case, in this instruction, MOV is nothing but what? This is my opcode, that is called operation code, and this operation is performed on these two registers, that is called operands. Is that clear, guys? Means MOV B comma A. So what it means? Whatever the information stored in variable A, or that is register A, copied into register B. Is that clear? So to store this instruction, that is MOV B comma A, it requires how many bytes? 1 byte. So that's why it is called 1 byte instruction. So how can we remember in short and simple method or to identify 1 byte instruction? So note that, guys, when operation carried out on any register, then that particular instruction is called 1 byte instruction. Got it, guys? Now we move to our next type of instruction, that is called 2 byte instruction. So guys, in case of 2 byte instruction, what happens, guys? Opcode and operation. So this is my operation code, and in second box I have to use operand. So this is my byte 1 and second box represents byte 2. So generally what happens in case of 1 byte instruction, both opcode and operand both are stored within the same byte. But in case of 2 byte instruction, opcode stores in separate byte and operand stores in separate byte. So why this is happens? So why it is not possible to store within 1 byte? So generally what happens when we are trying to perform any operation on register, then it is 1 byte instruction. Why, guys? Because the proper data or value stored within that register. Okay, so that's why it is called 1 byte instruction. But how can we identify whether it is a 2 byte instruction? So when we are going to perform any operation directly on given 8-bit data, so in that case it is called 2 byte instruction. Is that clear? So let me see the example. Suppose here I am going to write down the example: MVI A comma 55H. So what is the meaning of this instruction? MVI, move immediate. So what we are going to moving the data? 55 data we are going to move into variable A. So this value gets stored in register A. So this 55 is nothing but what? My 8-bit data. So why it is 2 byte instruction? Because this 55 requires separate 8-bit memory and this opcode requires separate 8-bit memory. That's why it is called 2 byte instruction. So how can we write down the same instruction in higher level language form, that is used in C, C++ language? So in that case we are just write down like this: A is equal to 55. So what it means? So 55 value gets stored in variable A. So as I told you earlier, in assembly language program we never use any symbol to write down any instruction. Got it, guys? So we use special instructions. Is that clear? Okay. So now guys, we are going to store in this byte 1 and byte 2 format of this particular example. So how can we store? So in first box, we are going to represent opcode. So in our instruction, opcode is what? MVI and A. So this is my opcode. So it will store in byte 1. Okay. And in second byte, we are going to store our actual data, that is 52, byte 2. Is that clear? But there is big confusion, maximum number of students. So sir, you say that A and these are A, B, C, D. So these are nothing but various registers and we are going to perform operations on register. So why A is not an operand? So generally what happens, guys, when we write 8-bit data, means 2-digit number, and which is especially hexadecimal number, so it is occupied a separate 8-bit memory location, that is 1 byte memory. So 1 byte memory is reserved for instruction and 1 byte memory is reserved for this data. So that's why it is called 2 byte instruction. So let me take the review. How can we identify 1 byte instruction? Means whenever we are going to perform any operation on register, then in that case it is called 1 byte instruction. And what happen in case of 2 byte instruction? So in 2 byte instructions, opcode and operand both are stored in separate memory. Means opcode require 1 byte memory and in another byte memory is reserved for data, that is called operand. And generally in case of 2 byte instruction, operation is definitely performed on given 8-bit data. So how can we identify 8-bit data? So suppose if we have 2-digit number, hexadecimal number, then we directly surely say that it is 8-bit data. Okay. Now guys, we are going to switch on to our last topic, last type, that is called 3 byte instruction. So guys, how can we identify whether that given instruction is a 3 byte instruction? So generally what happens? It is very simple. I will just tell you the simple trick to remember 1 byte instruction. In that we directly say that operation carried out on any registers, then it is called 1 byte instruction. If operation carried out on any 8-bit data, then in that case it is called 2 byte instruction. And how can we identify whether it is a data or a register? So data is represented by 2-digit hexadecimal number, and for 3 byte instruction, note that guys, if we are going to perform any operation on 16-bit address, so we know that 16-bit means what? Separately 2 bytes reserved for that address. Okay, so means opcode require 1 byte and operand require 2 bytes. So how can it will be stored? So I will show you on a board. So that's why it is more easy and clear to you. Okay, so this is my opcode. So this opcode stored in my first memory block, and this is my second memory block, and this is called my third memory block. So it is called byte 2 and byte 3. So it is nothing but what? It is my operand. Okay, so this is opcode, means 1 byte is specially reserved to store for opcode and remaining 2 bytes are used to store operand. And how can we use these 2 byte and 3 byte? That I will show you. So in first box we are going to store operation code, and especially whenever we are going to perform any operation on given 16-bit address. So how can we identify whether it is a data or address? So if we have 2-digit number, then we can directly say that it is a data, and if it is a 4-digit number, then we can directly say that it is a 16-bit address. Okay, so I will show you one example. Suppose here I am going to write down like this: LXI H, 2050H. So guys, this is one instruction, and this instruction is 3 byte instruction. So how can we say that this is a 3 byte instruction? Because this LXIH, it is nothing but what? My opcode. And this 2050H, it is nothing but what? 16-bit hexadecimal address. So this is my 16-bit number, and this 16-bit number requires 2 separate bytes. Okay, but guys, there is again a small twist. So this 20 and 50, we are going to separate it. So this 20H is called higher order data, and this 50 is called lower order data. Okay, so 20 is called higher, means it is our MSB data, and 50 is nothing but what? LSB data. So how can they are going to store? So this instruction we are going to store in this box in this fashion. So first of all we are going to store LXIH. So this is nothing but what? My opcode. And how I am going to store this address? So first of all we are going to store 50H and then 20H, means it stores in somewhat reverse fashion. So this 50 is nothing but what? My lower order data, and this 20 is nothing but what? Higher order data. Okay, or we can say that MSB data. So how it can store? First of all it stores opcode, then lower order 8-bit data, and then higher order 8-bit data. So means somewhat twist is there. So this simple change we have to keep it in our mind. So let me take the again a simple review. 1-byte instruction, how can we identify? When operation carried out on any register, that is A, B, C, D, E, H, L, any one of them is shown in your instruction, you directly say that it is a 1-byte instruction. And how can we say that whether it is a 2-byte instruction? So in that case, whenever any operation carried out on 8-bit data, that is 2-digit number, then we say that it is a 2-byte instruction. And how can we identify whether it is a 3-byte instruction? So in case of 3-byte instruction, especially operation carried out on 16-bit address. Okay, so 16-bit address require 2 bytes and opcode require 1 byte. So in this fashion, it is called 3-byte instruction. Got you guys? So these are the very important things. So guys, in next session, we are going to discuss what do you mean by addressing mode, how many addressing modes are there, then how many types of instruction groups are there, how these instructions are get classified, and let me take the practice to write down a simple instruction. So till then guys, thank you very much. Thanks for watching this video.